be able to get enough information to get back to them.
Okay. Well, that's okay. I'll just give it to you like that.
I'll give you this piece of paper. It'll be fine.
Okay.
I was just going to take a picture of it.
I can just copy it and give it to y'all.
That's
I'll
fine.
do that. It makes sense. Okay, so what we're talking about is we're talking about the kids specifically, the asthma patients suffering from asthma in the elementary school age, like 5 to 10, like first grade or kindergarten through sixth grade. Those are the ones we're trying to focus on. What we're trying to do is, what I'd like to know is if y'all could develop an app that they could just record their medicines on. Like, for instance, if Johnny Jr. has Advil due twice a day and he has his albuterol PRN, he goes in there in the morning, he hits a button on his little app that says, I took my medicine, and it records it, morning and night. And then, say in the afternoon, he gets an asthma attack when he comes home from school, and he hits his albuterol. He gives himself one albuterol, and 20 minutes later, he gives himself another albuterol. And then when it gets to that third time, we want it to flag and say, go to the hospital. Mm-hmm. You've had too many. Mm-hmm. Does that, and then if it was like, I want it to be able to record the med that they're taking. And then I want it to see if there's a way that it's recording it that they can actually go back and we could pull it up and say, over the last 2 weeks, Johnny Jr.'s taken his albuterol 15 times. Well, that's too many. So then it's going to pull us back and say, okay, what can we change in Johnny Jr.'s medication regimen to make sure that he's getting what he needs? Or do we need to tweak something? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So basically what we're going to have to come up with, just as a first thought process, we're going to have to come up with a way for them to set up an initial setup phase, what kind of meds they're taking, what kind of things like that. Do you want us to have it where it's supposed to be, or just say that 3 where it's, if he hits it the third time, hey, go to the hospital? Is there supposed to be a specific
It's going to be a specific time frame he takes 3 in. Like if he takes 3 back to back in a couple of hours, he needs to go to the hospital because it's getting out of control. Versus if somebody's going at home and they're taking it every hour, that's too many times. They need to flag it and say, I need to go to the hospital. I can get you specifics on the time interval.
Okay.
Or the recommendation is now that you've taken it this many times, go to the hospital.
My question is, for this app to work, that would need to be a device for him to use.
Right, and that's what I'm working on. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at my parents, and this is one problem we have with all of them. There's 2 different ways we can go with this. We can either do an app on a phone, or we could just do an app on just a pad, an iPad, a tablet, or something like that we could just add to it.
They actually work the same.
They work the same, right?
The only difference you're going to have is an iPhone and an Android. They don't work the same. But if you go from an Android phone to an Android tablet or an iPhone to an iPad, it works the same.
They work the same way.
And the same way with people that they have other smart devices too, like the BlackBerry, and then you have the Windows tablets and the Windows phones.
You won't have. I don't even know if we can write anything for Black. I don't even know how that's done. I don't even know anybody who does.
Code
so
and
BlackBerry may be out, and I don't know about Windows either. We could probably play with an SDK, but I don't know.
The Windows one
beyond my reach.
It would be very easy because look at the Windows PCs.
I figured we'd be working on an Android and or an iPhone.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing is, yes, we can work on that. It would be easy to code that from that to Windows with no problem.
Oh, okay.
It's like, from a business perspective, you would develop on Android first because of its market share, and they can get it out there to a lot of people, and they can get it beta tested and get a lot of statistics back on that.
We were gonna hit Apple, part of the hospital with it and see if we could get some people to beta test it and break it for us.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And then Apple, and then you can get the Windows. Or like you said, you want to get it to as many people as possible so they can test it, and you can get data from it and get results and see how well it's working.
Right.
Like
so
that.
Beta testing, we have to do beta testing. Well, so what I'm looking at, and this is what I'm in the process of doing too, is if so many of our parents, we can't get their attention because they're on their phones. So I've just got to determine if their phones have app capability, and I know some of them don't. And the other option I'm looking into is trying to get a grant to actually purchase the iPads to give to the children who don't have access to the iPad, to a phone with apps. And they're out there, and if you're trying to make a child's life better or improve quality of life, we can find some way to get some little iPads to just give them. So you can use this app. I'm giving you this iPad. I want you to take care of yourself. I want you to use this to help you manage your asthma. Makes sense?
Yes.
And I know there are people out there that'll do that part. I just got to get my stuff written.
The only problem I see with that is, it's true that you can get the iPads to them or the tablets, the Android tablets.
Yeah.
The only problem
What's the problem?
will they be able to afford the data.
Afford the data.
Yes, the data services. So they have to
You
have
gotta think
internet.
Wi-Fi. But will we need data for this project?
Or could you just put the app on the...
Yeah, I figured it'd just be something that
We
we have on
don't
this home.
need, we don't need data for the app if we're just beta testing it. We can automatically create
Well,
new.
this is the only thing for the internet. That's what I'm saying. Can't we have it all
Can't just download it.
in the whole software? Like, can't it be just a local thing? It doesn't need to hit the internet. You don't need to hit a server or anything crazy like that. 'Cause that's hitting violations all over the place. That's the only thing we have to worry about. HIPAA. I can't spell that out back and forth, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and that would be just patient information to get out into the market. And then the problem you're saying is, if you're going to need extra access to,
Unless we update it.
Which, I mean, it's not going to be perfect. It's already going to be a beta anyway, you know what I'm saying? But if there is a need for an update, you know, how can they get that update?
Yeah, that would be Wi-Fi. That's much for them.
I mean, yes,
most kids nowadays have Wi-Fi can get something that does. But if she gets iPads or whatever, we can preload it on that. That's the problem. That's what I was going to do. I mean, that'd make more sense than anything else.
just preload it.
Yes, that'd be very great.
I mean, solve problems before they get.
Yeah, just
But-
preload it on the pad, and they wouldn't have to worry about any kind of...
When this is all said and done, the big question is, how are we going to keep developing it? Or if we're going to keep developing it? I mean, we can't perfect it in 15 years.
Oh, no, wait. It's going to be, this is an ongoing project, okay, so what it is, you're just a piece of my project that I'm trying to work on, you guys are there girls and groups too? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, y'all are just one piece of it. So what's going to happen is this is going to actually turn into a research project. This is going to get tested more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, when we get everything developed, then we'll present it to the families and get them to use it over a certain number of time frame, and then go back and reassess them and score them and see if the quality of life improved, if they used it, what the downfalls were, what the negativity was, what ways can we improve it, did it help, or went the wrong way, went the right way, that kind of stuff. So there's going to be ways to get it, to use it later.
But the question
Okay, we have to
is,
carry it forward.
did the development in a sense pass us? Because, I mean,
Yeah.
graduation's coming up.
Right,
We'll
and so
have-
what will,
I mean,
I don't know, what's the idea there?
I don't know. That's
Well,
That's
I
where
mean, like I said, right now, this is a general idea. This is for the class, and eventually you'll get more people involved in this project.
Right.
So the thing is, out of us, that would be somebody to take over and continue the project. It's just
Right.
already have a bad
we
place.
can talk somebody into that. I mean, we live close to school. We might be able to find somebody.
Well, this
So that's
may
probably-
be, and this
talk
may be the
professor
first of
into it.
many too, this may be the first of many, because there's other groups out there.
Make friends at the hospital and have
Yeah,
some
have
stuff.
access to those communities.
That's right.
Yeah, you just start
That's
to
exactly
do
what I was about to say.
Almost told me. Yeah, it's, I was thinking I asked to say.
It could be that, it could be
Yeah,
that.
we could have real fun with this.
But
Make some friends.
that will always be senior capstone.
They will always
This is the
be.
only way to do senior capstone.
Yes, yes,
Awesome.
always.
Okay.
Future capstone projects.
Right on.
Awesome.
Make some friends. That's all I'm saying.
And we've got some other just topics to throw out there for the future that may need something like this. Is there's a huge deficit in coping among the kids that we're seeing that can't cope. Okay, so you think coping was LED, right? Well, coping, we're having an incredible increased suicide attempts that are heartbreaking. So what that's coming back to is kids not knowing how to do this. Just think about that. And the other one that's a huge factor is we've got more and more children that are having weight problems. So we've got that obesity factor. And you think, okay, so what is that doing for our children? It's increasing their hospitalizations. We're seeing more kids going on CPAP for breathing at night. They can't breathe, bypass CPAP, which should be an illness of the 50s and 60s, not the teens. We're seeing an increase in blood clots. All this is coming back to this factor. And now somebody at the clinic is doing one, and they're actually seeing an increase in the obesity rate and STDs. So it's like, there's a tremendous, it's all connected. So you think about all the potential projects that are in there that could be IT related, because IT is a way to go with it.
Just as kind of thought, how do you help kids cope outside of bargaining the dinosaur?
Coping can be from anything. Coping can be from trying to give them alternative things to do, as far as that with the teenagers, oftentimes it could be writing, it could be writing blogs, it could be writing, talking to people, and finding another outlet for them to go talk to things instead of, hang on just a second, it's
It's an anonymous tab. You go when you talk about
they may have it in the front door and she's in the
Okay, something like that. For kids like this to talk to each other. But it'd be completely anonymous. The only problem I see with that is
if an activity that
yeah.
There's already there's also some suicide groups out there.
Yeah.
How to get yourself.
Yeah, let's not do that. Okay,
So, but just if you want to talk to your friend, there's a lot of stuff out there that.
well, we'll keep that in mind. We can pass that on to somebody else.
Pass that on, but the one we're working on
This
is
is
fast, which can make an impact on children. And for instance, just a child shouldn't be having trouble breathing for several days before somebody brings it in, and then it's too late. There are certain things that parents need to recognize, but the big thing is to not doing the meds. And there's reasons why, but if we could just get into where they would understand the purpose behind the meds and just give it them, because all meds have side effects, but not getting the grades is a huge problem.
The other thing you have to remember is that with an app, just as anything else, they have to really think about using it, because in my experience, users tend to like to forget things like that. So if they hit an asthma, an inhaler or whatever, I really got to think about, oh, I need to grab my phone and hit a button. That's really my only other thought process on that, because users don't like to remember things.
But the one thing might be is this right here might be insensitive.
What is that?
If you're gonna get
An
an
iPad.
iPad,
You won't have
you want to kind of participate a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
That's stimulation.
Yeah, we want to. You guys stimulate this.
Okay.
It might be incentive.
Does it supposed to also alert them to use their app? Is it time?
Well, we could. That's a good idea. That's a good
And
idea.
another thing too, and not only have this for the child, because I'm looking at the cost of these iPads. I know there's cheap Android tablets, but the iPads
You get an Android tablet for $100.
Now, what I'm looking at too is, if the child has this, and if the parent has the app as well on their smartphone,
Right.
then the parent can also notify them, especially if the child is in school. If the child is in school and they have a tablet or iPad or whatever with them at school, then the teachers would know, and then they can also alert them to take out their tablet. And
Here's one for you though. You have your student, you have your iPad, you have your parents' phone, they're different entities. How are you going to sync those two?
see, the app works on each device. No matter, I have a Windows phone, he has an Android.
But how are you going to sync that kid? Say Johnny Boy has a specific set time on
Well, see,
everything.
that's what David would have came.
Twice?
That's where David would have came in at, so they can have internet access, and it will automatically
And then you have to set up server.
I know. But since we're for all that, basically what we do is we record a timer into this app, and basically what we do is we will set it for the tablet and the smartphone, so that way they can, even though they're not perfectly synced through data, but still they are somewhere near the same time, maybe a couple of seconds off, but they are close to time. So if it goes out on the tablet first, and the child go ahead and do what he's supposed to do and take it, and then the parent is alert, hey, my child needs to take his asthma. Okay, the parent calls the school, if the child is at school, and notify the teacher asks them and say yes, they did, and whatnot. That's verification. And it's not where it's just a child doing it on his phone, and the parents are not worried about it because they got this iPad, and this app has caused this child to do it, and also now they can feel. You don't want them to be conflicted. You want them to be alert at all times. You want both of them working together. The parent to get it, they're going to finish first, call child, hey, it's time to take that app.
That's the message, yeah.
And so even though it's on different devices, if we have a time to set up and send them as close as we can as possible on each device, then that's great. That's good. Because everything runs up close at the same time.
My brain is kind of racing because I'm like, databases and Google Clouds and that would be a project. Yeah. Oh boy. You can do it, but it would. Oh yeah, we can do that. Like we're talking about. I'm talking about like expanding farther than discussing. This is when I was talking about having it on two different devices. I'm just going to argue a point here. Johnny Boy's his mom. What I was talking about was trying to figure out how to sync them up. Say with an email address or something like that. That would take a database and a big server out online and all that jazz. And that would take a lot more time than we have. But he was talking about a timer which we could just set up to have like local, which we were talking about before. They would need data. They would need an internet access. They could just have it on a timer and have it set up to do it like that. Give them that. When it's all set up. From the beginning, I guess have them set a specific time, or have the doctor set a specific time, and whoever has it, be like, hey, set this up for me, have the doctor, the nurse, or whoever set it up, you need to take them at this time, you need to do this, and have the.
They're pretty much your 8 and 8 or 9 and 9. 9 in the morning, 9 at night, 8 in the morning, 8 at night.
Okay.
We're pretty much the same thing.
That's
very
fine.
simple. It's very simple.
And if they do take it, beforehand, like you said, they take it 3 times, they do check it.
Yeah,
as long as it's being recorded, then that way that's data for the doctors and nurses and everybody to know what's going on. So they can record and they took it at this time because they was having an attack or something.
And then you have it saved somewhere locally, but.
Or like you say, they move like you said.
Yeah, that's what like locally.
Yeah, locally. Okay, yeah.
Go back a second. Did you just something about the rescue mates?
Yeah, that's the local. We were talking about saving all that locally. Like if I had to take my battery out, hit the button, and it would save it somewhere locally, and then you could just pull it up on the phone.
Okay, if you just hit time to the.
Yeah, you just wouldn't have it out anywhere online or anything, but you can be able to.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
just
local.
yeah. It'd be on your phone.
Yeah, it'd be on your phone.
Okay.
Unless something happened to your phone, you have access to it. Theoretically.
Cool. Also, to make it kid-friendly, one other thing we need to do is like, could we put like little cartoons on it, or
Depending
how
on
that do?
Yeah, that's copyright.
So what about like if you have something created? Do you have any?
I mean, that's what if we wanted to,
You know what I'm saying?
we could get in contact. And you're right. If we had, I mean, we do
Just make a
have.
character we can make up.
Yeah, that's how we get our own characters. We do
Make a
have. Do we
character.
have school
Art friends at school.
We know,
I know an art professor who's really cool. He could probably help us, but I mean,
I'm quite sure Tyler would know some people.
you're right. Yeah,
it's not at school. I got friends on Facebook who are artists and like to draw like an asshole character ideas.
Yeah, character ideas that would be, this can't get copyrighted.
Yeah, we gotta be careful
Can't
about
be
that.
anything that looks like anything
It has to
else.
be your own creativity.
Just ask if they got to make a character.
I just just an idea for a character.
Yeah, I can give her a character, you can make a character.
What are we gonna name it?
But make it children friendly.
What are we gonna name it?
Well, this is the medical system.
No, it's not. They changed the name this morning. They changed the names this morning. I'm not even going there. We're not even
We
getting
don't
it.
even know how to say
The
it.
thing about it is it might get thrown all over the country or all over the world. Why would you name it after a place like this?
That's true.
That's real here. Anyway, it has to be.
Y'all can play with the name.
Yeah, we'll have
Y'all can play with the
to.
name. You guys come up with the rules, you come up with the name.
Because this is a certain age group that is
This is like 5 to 10.
5 to 10. So we know
School age.
children
Well,
are
character, maybe something about
Yeah, you can make up a cartoon and everything. Y'all come up with a character and come up with a name.
Darn it, dinosaur.
That's too
I don't know what you're talking
Something
about.
about breathing.
You're playing fire.
I know what you're talking about. That's fine. We'll come up with something.
Yeah, I'll come up with a name.
Maybe something big.
Call
You
it
said about
Breathing. Something about breathing.
You remember that cartoon Osmosis Jones? Maybe something based on that.
respiratory dinosaur.
Y'all think you're thinking Capstone and start playing with it.
Yeah,
You're creating an artistic difference.
yeah, that's. We might have to
I'm
figure
trying
it out.
to get out there and go viral. It will expand. And
You need more
I
cast.
know and they know that we need this to be on service because you can be more productive.
There's a lot more you can do if you had web space, but
I think all this is could be
But now,
we can start the base for it and let the next Capstone cast come in and add. If we get a grant or something for Google servers or Google like some kind of web space sharing, then we could set a server up on for people to use. Then you have to figure out how to secure it. You have to deal with HIPAA. There's a lot of stuff you have to deal with here because that's a big thing, especially if we're dealing with medical stuff, and that's really the big issue you're gonna have with that. You've got to find somewhere secure you can put it, and you have to follow HIPAA because lots of people get lots of sued and lots of.
Yeah, but the good thing with this is we're not doing medical information. We're just doing recording of medications, right?
Technically, yes, but how does that look at HIPAA? If somebody were to data breach and get all of that information,
You're saying you were on the internet.
if say me being malicious, I broke into the server, we've set up the server, everything's good. I broke into the server and started stealing people's stuff. That's a violation of HIPAA.
Right.
So how do we deal with that? I don't. That's where my issue comes in.
But you're thinking about it like this too. There are already policies at the hospital and they already have databases and things like that with patients' information.
Yes, but this is assuming it stays at this hospital. If you don't want to spread it around the rest of the world. And I guess theoretically we could.
Well, I mean, that's okay.
And good luck getting the network guys to give you server space for
I know,
that.
right?
They wouldn't let us too much anything. They were very, we won't let
Well,
them.
like you said, if that's the case, if it's just for this hospital only, then it would work. If it was to expand to
Then we have to
hospitals,
treat stuff now.
exactly. We would just basically they have to come up with a policy. Well, not even a policy. They would just, listen, we can share this information with you, but it's up to your responsibility to how you manage it.
We have to have them give us server space to keep that information secure here if we were going to do that. Because it would be covered, I think it would be
Let's
covered.
talk here first. Let's
But
here first.
that's a big question. I can't make
I'm
it.
just speaking in general. If this is successful, it could really expand.
I wonder if we could have to talk to about that. I have no idea.
Um,
David Bill would probably answer, but there's probably another option we have to talk to. But if we could get server space, theoretically, we could go to here to the hospital. And then you could give the source code to other hospitals or whatever and have their IT team implement it. But there couldn't, if you start on Google Cloud or something, you have a central database. I feel like that finally hit us somewhere. We couldn't do away with that. There's no way. Because iCloud just got hacked and
that's all everything is.
A lot of people think that it's impossible to hack on Apple. It is not. It is very easy to hack an iPhone or an iPad and everything with that nature.
It's easy. We've got to figure out a way to keep that information secure because of HIPAA. That's where our big problem with going on a connectivity thing is.
On a server.
On a server. Because you have to find a way to keep it set up secure.
The thing
And I would hope that happens. That's
the thing is, like you were saying, here at the hospital would be great to have it hosted here at the hospital. Now, no matter what you do, anything is happening, but that's nothing is secure. You can sit there and say, we can try to make it as secure as possible. Yes, you can do that, but it's never secure. It can always be hacked.
If it existed, it can be broken or broken into.
That's right. So, I mean, you do have third party out there that host cloud-based services like Windows Azure with Microsoft, Cloud, Google Cloud, but does the hospital already use one of those services? If not,
They do their own.
if they do their own, which is good because I guess, it's a integrity and confidentiality issue. So, by doing their own, that's great, It's just, like I said, it's improved from where the big guy is.
But would HIPAA allow for us to put something like that out and just pass out software? I mean, you're not giving them Social Security number, you're not giving them anything other than
The code. That's
No. We're not giving them code. We're giving the users. If I were to break into that server and pull data, all I have is when somebody took their meds. What kind of medication, what time to take it? I mean, would that be covered under the HIPAA, or would that matter? I don't know.
It would because
You have to talk to somebody who can do it. It's not going to be in the books.
but it would because the patient's name and information and
You're
their
not going to
data.
have every bit of information there. You don't
No, that's what I'm saying. That's Social Security and birth and like that. But you do have that patient's name.
Why?
And so what?
Why do I need a patient's name? Oh, yeah, if it's going to serve you an email address, then technically you don't need anything else other than an email address that you can use it to sync with other devices. I don't need my name in that.
Email address. You can get an email address.
Of course. But
that's the information. You see, no matter what piece of information you get, it is valuable. Any piece of information is valuable.
yeah.
So regardless, you have it there. Even though it's not much, but it's still there. But you still have to store that
And a
somewhere.
password.
You still have to store that somewhere.
But
Like I said, no matter how you try security, it's breakable. That's one thing I learned in software security. But like you said, it's just if you can get the green light. If you can, it's good. But right now, we're not focused on that. That's not our job. Our job right now is to do this project and get it out of the way. Exactly. Now, it will be somebody else's head and they will try, go up beyond that, expand and go beyond that, hit servers and try to find out what policies.
that would be good for somebody to come up and do to it though. Like when they come up with the next Capstone, that'd be fantastic. And I'm sure they could probably talk to Floyd or me or somebody else and have them be like, oh yeah, well, we can do this. Just expand on this last one. That would be fantastic. I'm sure somebody could do it, but we could build the ground blocks there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you did it like this, if we had it just local, everything local, you could pass it out to whoever, get it any hospital anywhere, any person anywhere, and not have to worry about it. So
That's right. And it's simple as say we have this great software. It is working wonders here at whatever the name of the hospital is now. If you want to implement this, if you want to implement this great product, here's the source code. That's it.
just send me out.
That's it.
Okay, right, everybody's name down. And right now, somebody's email addresses.
Yep. It's gonna be interesting. I can feel it in my soul. The other day, I thought it was gonna be a little different. I thought we were going to be like, what next to take on this chat. I'm like, but I guess that'll all be determined when we begin. I guess we could.